Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Gen X Man. It's Tabletop Tuesday, the program where we discuss all manner of games to enjoy around the table. Normally, this is the point where I prompt y'all to roll for initiative, but today we're only rolling to move around the board. We are going to talk about a bona fide classic, a must have relic of bygone days that has thankfully survived in one iteration or another to the modern day. Today, we're zooming in on Talisman, also called the Magical Quest game, but we never called it that, was originally put out by the legendary Games Workshop. First released in 1983, which was around the time I started playing it. The game has gone through several revisions as of the time of this writing. Having sold 800,000 copies by 2000, it has been one of the more successful fantasy board games out there. Fantasy Flight Games, yes, the same outfit that had Star Wars for a spell, held the license from 2008 to 2017, and then Pegasus Spiel took over production in 2019. Now, as I mentioned, I became exposed to this highly addictive, fun little gem sometime around the mid to late 80s, I would guess. My cousin had a copy and brought it over at our gaming sessions, and I was instantly hooked. And still am. In fact, I suspect the copy of the game my cousin plays today is the same one from back then, but he'd have to confirm that. I'll ask him next time he calls. The game was originally created by Robert Harris for the amusement of himself and his friends, and it was kind of odd, but the object back then, in his first iteration, was to become the prefect of a boys' school. I don't know how comfortable I am with that oddball kind of goal, and I'm glad that was changed. But Harris decided to switch the whole thing from, uh, whatever that is, to fantasy, calling it by the name it's known today, and got it signed with the Games Workshop. And debuting at Games Day, a yearly gaming convention that was originally started way back in 1975, seems to me something else important came into being in 1975, but it escapes me. Anywho, by 83, Harris was completely bought out by Games Workshop and no longer involved. It's a pretty simple setup. You grab a pre-generated hero. They range through, the many fantasy tropes, and you're given a little playing piece and a mini character sheet. The stats are simple: life, strength, and craft. You have 4 lives and 1 bag of gold to start. The adventurers range through what you'd expect: big brawny types like warrior, knight, and they excel at the strength-based tasks like combat, while the caster types like the witch and so on have spells and excel at the craft tasks and the weird stuff. But you roll to move around the board, interacting with the space you land on, which can activate events, it can initiate encounters, or provide what are called adventure cards. These cards might be an event, an encounter, a place, or a treasure. These can remain on the space where they're drawn, depending, so other players might have to interact with them too. Unlike other games, you accumulate items and such printed on cards, which you keep nearby as a reference, and you're going to want to accumulate as much as you can. The overall objective is to reach the crown of command at the center of the board. There are multiple rings surrounding the crown, with your character starting out the farthest, which is also the easiest to survive. Tasks become decidedly more challenging and deadly the further into the layers you delve, until you reach the crown itself, which is a monumental task in and of itself that you absolutely will not complete without accumulated ascendants. Now, once you have that command, you basically AoE the entire board down. So it's, you win, but it's not an immediate, oh, you win. You get the visceral player of smashing the other players. And as if all that wasn't challenging enough, the game allows players to mess with one another. And mess we did. Believe that. So be advised, there's PvP. There were a number of expansions released, which added new location. They would add new locations, new characters, new adventure cards, sometimes new spells and objects. The first expansion was released in '86 and was just titled the Talisman Expansion Set. This gave some rules clarifications, alternate endings, character sheets, and bases for the little standees. Another expansion called the Talisman Dungeon was released the next year and added another map, a dungeon, to be placed next to the main map. It was accessed from the main board and would eventually spit you back out where you started after you accumulated some treasure. There was a Talisman Timescape, which was based on Warhammer 40K, released in '88, and Talisman City, which I own but have since lost, released in '89. There was a final expansion in '93 called Talisman Dragons, which sounds fun. I can't even imagine what these things would go for today. I'm honestly afraid to even look it up. The game was criticized for being very luck dependent, which it is. But I've always felt that that's a love it or hate it kind of thing. I love it as the game puts me in a very good headspace of just having fun. I'm not emotionally tied to the life or death of my character. I just want to watch the insanity unfold, laugh till my sides hurt, and do it again. There was also criticism that the games went on too long, and this is also true. Like I said, if you're enjoying the game like I do, you don't notice the time. But if you got other things you want to do, this could very easily be seen as a slog, FYI. For me, it will always have infinite replay value. It's fast and it's easy and it's fun. And it's a blast to see how things shake down. Again, you could call it a beer and pretzels kind of game. It's just fun that way. Now, this was all the first and second editions of the game. The third edition came along, cleaned things up, made some cosmetic changes, some minor alterations here and there, and was generally just a revised edition. Fourth edition was launched back in 2007 by Black Industries, which is an imprint of Games Workshop. They came in with a much bigger board, new heroes, new art, that kind of thing. And then just a year later, Black Industries was out, and Fantasy Flight Games was in. Fantasy Flight really went back crazy with the expansions. I mean, through 2016, there were at least 14 expansions released, each one bringing new stuff. So you can imagine some dude out there that has everything and busts it out. You'd be playing for a month, but it does sound kind of fun. And if any of y'all are that dude or chick, make sure to comment down in the comments below and let us know, because I would certainly love to see that kind of insanity. But anyway, now speaking of, if you're looking for, support getting into this game, fear not. There are thriving online communities out there in internet land. They're all over. Many of whom have produced their own fan versions of the game and its expansions. Plenty of there to check out. There's even a version from 2019 centered around Batman and his rogues gallery, and that sounds like a hoot. Like, I might have to look that one up. Further, if you're not an English speaker and you're listening to this video with Google Translate or whatever, there are versions of the game out there in Finnish, French, German, Italian, Czech, Slovak, Hebrew, so it's kosher, Swedish, Polish, and Hungarian. No idea how hard it is to find those editions out there, but they exist. Sadly, I myself no longer have a copy of the game. Mine was lost in what I refer to as the Great Collapse when I moved from Parkersburg, West Virginia, up to Columbus, Ohio. I know I had the City expansion, and I had at least one other, name escapes me, but they were all in the same box and now are lost to time. Someday, I would love to replace, at the very least, the base game. It has given me so many laughs and tears through the years. I can't recommend it enough to y'all out there in internet land. Obviously, I would recommend the early editions of the game, but economy being what it is, get whatever you can afford. The editions aren't that different from one another. Don't feel like you're not getting the authentic experience and what have you. So there you have it, folks. One of the best tabletop board games I have ever played, and one I can't recommend enough. Talisman. Hope you all enjoyed my little video talking about it, and if you did, might I impose upon you for a like? And if you enjoyed my old hillbilly face rambling on, feel free to subscribe, hit the ring-a-ding-ding bell icon, and it'll let you know when I upload something new, which is quite often. Now, it's Tabletop Tuesday. Get out there, roll some dice, read a comic, enjoy a movie, watch a cartoon, bust out those old action figures, drink some water, do something fun, and as always, have a good one.